So we're seeing more and more companies like, we're in the middle of businesses realizing that DEI is not actually catering to paying customers, and they're actually costing the company billions. And so we're now seeing that with Square Enix, in specific, a Western Chief Publishing Officer, which is basically a localizer. He's getting the boot. Square Enix is laying off 180 Western staff. And this is coming on the heels, and obviously we're going to be watching a Rev video, which I am pleased to say, though they are not 100% back to normal, we are seeing improvements in his condition. They are starting to regain slowly. We're still not back at 100%, but they have swollen larger than what they were yesterday by a small amount. By a small amount. There's a small improvement from yesterday. Thankfully, we're seeing a small improvement. But he's going to talk about this in its what was I going to say? I'm so focused on poor Rev's condition, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh God. I forgot what I was about to say. It'll probably come back to me halfway through the video. But anyway, let's look at how these companies are basically trying to recover and realize that catering to DEI is not actually making them money.
That's here. So when it comes to the localization scene of Japanese media, whether it's anime, video games.
Now I remember. Sorry. Now I remember. Bearing in mind, this is on the heels of Japan putting their foot down and basically taking steps to basically say that any entertainment product like manga or anime that they export to the West will not be allowed to be altered. Japan is actually saying when we port anime and manga to the West for sale, the West will not be allowed to alter it in any way. You will not be able to alter its translations through your localizers. You will not be able to alter that in any way. You will have to translate it accurately. You cannot censor it. You cannot change things up to basically meet whatever the localizers deem acceptable by their definition of Western standards. This is on the heels of that. So Japan is basically saying, if we send you something, you will not alter it. And if you do alter it, you don't get to, we will not license it to you. So that it's basically their licensing agreement in the West is contingent on the West not doing fuck all to censor their artists. Can't censor the words, can't censor the art itself. You don't like it, don't purchase the license for it. This is coming on the heels of Japan basically telling the West, go fuck yourself with your puritanical bullshit and trying to twist our art to fit DEI ideals. It's our way or the highway, and I fucking love it.
Or manga, a lot of related parties are currently finding out. They're finding out that a lot of the localization controversies involving the English publications of these products are having negative effects. And we're going to be looking at the most recent party to find out, and that is Square Enix, who has done a major round of layoffs targeting specifically their own.
It's kind of ironic that they've got this image on the article, considering this game was fucking horrible. This was next to Dustborn, this was kind of DEI the game. This was the most unlikable protagonist in any of the most recent games. Basically, everyone took one look at this protagonist and went, thanks, I hate it. Yes, this is a game. This is for was it for spoken or for spoken? She was basically a bitch. She starts off as a bitch and she goes through the entire game and she is an absolute bitch to everyone. Because she's, they did that whole thing of she is ethnically diverse and she's poor and she's got a bad attitude to everyone, including the people that try to help her. She's an absolute cunt to everyone, even the people that try to help her. She's just an absolute bitch to the entire fucking time. No, and that's the problem here. She doesn't even have a heart of gold. She has like a heart of shit. Cause she is just an absolute bitch to literally everybody that she meets in this game, even people that are trying to help her. And that's the screenshot that they use to talk about this Western Chief Publishing Officer resigning. Is this absolute dog shit game? No character development, like Spar. No character development, no nothing. She's a bitch from the beginning. She's a bitch at the ending, and everybody hated her.
Overseas structure. In fact, they've gone out and even had their Western Chief Publishing Officer resign. And you can see in his own description of what he's doing.
That's part of the story,
he said that he works closely with Japan as a senior leader of Western publishing business, interact daily with CEO and leadership team in Japan to illustrate needs and challenges in Western markets and to propose solutions. And
used to work closely with Japan. He worked in so closely with Japan anymore. Yeah.
We'll look at this later, but there's a lot of examples of Square Enix basically saying they want to prioritize the needs and the sensitivities of the Western market. And that's been a big focus for them the last year or two. And it's, not been working out. Now, the localization scene when it comes to Japanese media, like I said, anime, manga, or video games, has been a disaster for a very long time. The English localizations.
Yeah, let's look at this. Subs. What's with that outfit? Everyone was always saying something to me, so I tried toning down the exposure. How is it? You should try changing your body next. The Funimation dub, i.e. the Westernization dub. What are you wearing that for? Oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves, so I changed clothes. Give it a week, they'll be begging you to change it back. You see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to Japan putting their foot down. This shit? Pulling off the patriarchy bullshit in an anime? Is going away. Because Japan is going to be telling the West, you either dub it exactly as it is translated, or you don't get the licensing. Because you can see, this is the change. Everyone's saying something to me, so I tried toning down the exposure versus, those pesky patriarchal societal demands. This is going away.
Are terrible in many, many such cases. Now, this is not coming from Square Enix. This is from Funimation. But I use this example all the time because, number one, it makes the most annoying people seethe every time I bring it up. And second of all, it's just like the epitome of English localization, right? You have a complete and utter...
Pat, it's... like, if they have already agreed to the licensing agreement, yes, probably they could get sued because my guess is in the licensing agreement, that would be in the contract that they are not allowed to alter the translation in any way, shape, or form. If they do not have a licensing agreement and the West says, well, we're not going to do that, then Japan will just go, cool, we're not going to give you the licensing and you will not be able to show this on your Western programming. So yeah, if they do it after signing the contract, yes, my guess is Japan, number one, would yank the license, and number two, would probably sue them. That would be my guess. And yes, Hefe, you are 100% correct. The best Japanese anime dub in existence is Ghost Stories. If you have not seen Ghost Stories, chat, the dubbed version, this is key, the dubbed version of Ghost Stories, 1,000 times superior to the sub. Because I'm not going to spoil it because maybe I'll show it this weekend in movie night. The dubbed version of Ghost Stories is fucking hysterical. It's a collection. It's basically about 5 or 6 voice actors. No scripts. Just riffing and being as offensive and racist as possible throughout the entire anime. It is fucking hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. There's a story that the voice actors would race into the studio because whoever got into the studio first that day for recording got to dictate how the dubs, like the direction the dubs would go. It's hilarious. Maybe I'll show it this weekend.
Of English localization, right? You have a complete and utter mistranslation followed by random insertions of a political agenda. It's an absolute mess. Now, when it comes to Square Enix, they're also focusing on their localization team, and they're making a lot of layoffs, including laying off the localization project manager right here named Yusuke Haraguchi. And this is a part, again, of a major round of layoffs where they're trying to restructure their global focus, their overseas focus. And they have specifically mentioned that in the past year or two, there's been some disappointments. And they're trying to reassure their shareholders that they're going to do something different. And
I wonder if this change includes things like changes that have to change, otherwise it'll make no sense in English.
Well, Resin, I would imagine that in those minute tweaks, where possibly the sentence structure or like those minor tweaks where things might get slightly lost in translation, those I'm sure will be permissible. We're talking about major changes like what we just saw with the what was that, Dragon Maid? Where they literally changed it from I was exposing too much, switching that over to a or Dragon Maid, switching that over to talking about the patriarchy, like those kind of changes. What they're talking to, small little tweaks that where there's a failure to translate across the language, where what's said in Japanese doesn't necessarily translate quite right into English, and they have to tweak it slightly so it makes sense. That I'm sure would be permissible. But we're talking about major change, where they're basically changing the entire meaning of what is being said.
Improve their operational efficiency. Now, again, with the localization focus, we showed some examples from other companies, but let's focus on Square Enix. And why a lot of people are saying you reap what you sow, nobody feels sorry for you that you're doing these layoffs. And some people who are hopeful are saying, hey, well, maybe they're learning, but we'll have to wait and see.
We'll see.
But they've been in like a dozen localization controversies over the past couple of years. In fact, they came out and confirmed something a lot of people were already suspecting, and that is the fact that this company has confirmed that games that they're developing in Japan are made with a focus on a global audience. Just like the modern audience, hearing the global audience is the biggest red flag ever.
This is concerning. This is concerning that they're going to start basically making games and moving away from the very things that people in the West loved about their games in the first place. What made the games so popular, and so successful, is the fact that they were Japanese games made by Japanese company in a Japanese style. People in the West love that. Creating games with a global audience in mind right from the onset is the worst tack they can take. That is the absolute worst way. That is the worst thing that they can do. This is basically the exact opposite of what we were just applauding when it comes to anime and manga. How the anime and manga are looking to basically tell the West, if you don't like what this says when it's translated, then you can fuck off, you're not changing. Square Enix is going the opposite route, it seems. And now they're going to be trying to do the thing that kills gaming companies, which is they're literally trying to please everyone. They're literally this creating with a global audience in mind is literally trying to please everyone. And what's going to end up happening is they please no one. This will result in them trying to getting pulled in so many different directions and trying to soften language and soften graphic violence or something. They're going to soften everything up to try and make it quote unquote palatable for everyone, and no one's going to like it. No, the reason why the Japanese games like this are so popular is because people love these Japanese games as they are. The moment they start trying to change things up and basically cater to the Western audience in the U.S., cater to the French audience, cater to the Italian audience, cater to the Norwegian audience, and try and cater to all these different demographics simultaneously, nobody's going to like it. Absolutely nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to buy their games. They're going to get the reviews by actual gamers, not gaming like IGN. Fuck them. They don't know how to review games. But actual gamers like YouTubers that review games, they're all going to go, this sucks. It's weak. There's no heart to it. There's no intense story. The combat sucks. It's lackluster. But that's what's going to happen. You try and make for everybody, and no one will enjoy it.
Hear that? You should perk your ears up and know there's probably some weird stuff going on and things are being tampered with in terms of localizations and censorship and what have you. And yeah, they want to go through thorough ethical reviews tailored to different regions, meaning they're going to tailor their content to the delicate sensibilities of a bunch of screechers from the Western market who do not represent the whole. And they faced a big round of controversy a few years back when their Manga Up app was facing, criticism for randomly yeeting black bars everywhere. Now, I know censorship in Japan is a big issue in terms of the black bars and all that stuff.
Actually, I've heard that particularly in the hentai doujin, that there has been... I actually thought that they were going to do away with this. Apparently, they haven't yet. There's been a big push to remove, the black bar censorship from even, hentai and doujin. Even the naughty porn, porn manga, they want to get rid of the black bar. And I did not even know that in regular manga that they were black barring anything. I was not even aware this was a thing. Given these titles, why would they black bar anything? It's like My Dress Up Darling. The manga's not showing titties, is it? To the best of my understanding, there was no nudity in My Dress Up Darling work, was there? I didn't think so. Yeah, maybe this is just maybe these are just a couple of the titles in the Manga Up, and there's other titles in the Manga Up app that do have actual nudity, perhaps. It's entirely possible, but these are just 3 examples. Maybe the Manga Up has other stuff that actually shows maybe full frontal or something. Maybe.
But this stuff is ridiculous. Looking at this. By the way, this is their censor, not mine. And this is a fully clothed anime girl, okay? We also have examples like this from My Dress Up Darling, where they're censoring cleavage.
They're literally, chat, they're censoring cleavage. Literally, chat, to give you an example, if my top is literally on the brink of getting of what would be considered a black bar in this app. If the front of my top dipped down just a bit lower, I'd probably get black bar. in a Japanese manga. That's the level that they're blackbarred. Like, look at this. This is Marin. This is the outfit Marin wants to wear, and yeah, it's basically like showing a glorious amount of cleavage, but it's not showing nipples. Like this would not be showing nipples, but they're still blackbarring it because it's showing a lot of titty. Yeah, get that shit out of here.
And then you have examples like this from Soul Eater, where again they're censoring a fully clothed anime girl.
Oh my God.
They even censored aspects of Full Metal Alchemist.
What?
Like, are you kidding me?
What?
Of all the
What
things,
did they censor?
it just goes to show you how shameless they get. But it gets worse. They also faced about a year ago a big controversy because they were adding.
I remember this. I remember. Do you guys see what they did? Eh? Are you guys seeing what they did with this censoring? With Dragon Quest 3. They literally, she was wearing a loincloth and they gave her shorts. It's not a skirt, that's a loincloth. Let's be real here. Yeah, they added shorts and not even a tank, and like this is like even more than a tank top. Yeah, Kaibo, yeah, it's more like a sports bra. Like, they literally gave her shorts and a sports bra. Like, why? Why? It makes no fucking sense. People see more exposure than this on a daily basis. Literally in billboard advertisements. There are literal billboard advertisements everywhere that show female models literally wearing nothing but a lacy bra and a thong. And that's mainstream billboard advertisements. Why would you do this in the game? It makes no sense whatsoever. This is pandering to the reeing, screeching morons that literally have nothing else going on in their life, and they have to scream about you're objectifying women because they don't have anything else in their life. They feel like their lives have absolutely no meaning, and so they glom onto this. They glom onto the concept that modern media is what was the word what's the word I'm looking for? Shit, I lost the word. But basically, it's like exposing women. You know, it's the modern media is exposing women and is sexualizing their bodies. And how horrible is this? It must not stand because they don't have a life. That's what happens is when we get the reeing, scream Karens that don't have a life, that want to inject their ideologies, their sensibilities of what they think is correct. And they get on social media and they start writing campaigns. And for some reason, these companies listen. And then they do shit like this and then go Pikachu shock face when they lose money. Yes, objectifies. Thank you, Eminency. Yes, I don't know why I lost that word. Yes. The Karens that scream about the companies objectifying women, and then they make the change to please the Karens, which without question are fucking middle-class white women that have no fucking lives and are actually jealous because the characters in question that they are screeching about are a fuck-ton hotter for her. And the guy that they like would rather jerk off to the image of the sexy anime waifu than them. And of course, this cannot stand. And so they make the claim that, oh, these companies are objectifying female bodies, including fictional characters, and this must not stand. Cover up those titties. And the companies go, okay, we'll do it. And then they go Pikachu shock face when, why are we losing money? Why aren't we selling these games? Like I think they're finally maybe, hopefully, at least in the anime and manga areas, they may be finally figuring out, hey, we don't need to give a shit about the Karens. The Karens are not the ones buying our products anyway. The weebs, the glorious weebs, are the ones that are paying the hard-earned money. They like looking at hot girls uncensored, so we're not going to censor the hot girls. We're not going to change the words that are coming out of their mouths because they're the paying customers, not the loser screeching Karens that only want them shut down.
Censorship of Akira Toriyama's original warrior design for Dragon Quest III's remake. Yeah, they added shorts onto her because apparently the legendary and now late Akira Toriyama needed to be scaled back by Square Enix because the Western audience just couldn't handle it. In fact, they also had another round of controversy.
Yeah, look at that.
Where they were
Look
censoring outfits of Tifa from Final Fantasy. And, of course, people on Twitter were like, oh, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's a small change. As I always say, if it's not a big deal, then why did you censor it? And why are you...
Not only that, it starts small. That's how this starts. It starts small. First, it's like, okay, let's paint in some kind of a chemise or undershirt for Tifa's outfit to cover up her titties because, again, it's a bunch of fat, overweight, screeching Karens that are jealous about the hot anime waifu. Let's not fuck with that. That is who is screeching about this, is overweight Karens that are just jealous of how good they look. It starts small, but it keeps going. When the Karens, when the Karens realize that their screeching can do this, then they get louder for more. That's what happens. This is the typical DEI woke cult. They are the beasts that cannot be fed. You give them a concession like this, cool. They're gonna go for the next thing. Then the next thing, and it's going to get bigger, and it's going to get bigger, and they literally become the beasts that cannot be fed. Nothing will ever satisfy them. They will always demand more unless you punch them in the face, metaphorically speaking, and say, fuck off. This is mine, not yours. You don't like it. There's the fucking door. Please let it hit you in the ass on the way out. It's literally as simple as that. Because the fat-ass Karens are not the ones spending money on your product. That's what these companies need to actually get through their fucking skulls. The ones bitching and moaning are not your paying customers. The ones that enjoy it, the ones that have been making you billions of dollars over the years, those are your paying customers. Those are the ones that you have to please, not the fat fucking Karens.
Supporting censorship. Like, if you don't like what you're seeing, then don't play the game. It's like literally that simple. But anyways, they also censored male character designs, so they're not discriminating. They're censoring all genders in their pursuits here at Square.
Yeah, see, what the fuck is this? Why are you taking away our eye candy? What the fuck, Square Enix? Why are you oh my god. I just realized it. Chat. They're scared of the bare hips. Are they in with Twitch? Did Twitch get to Square Enix chat? That they're scared to show bare hips? It all makes sense now. Now it all makes sense. Square Enix is in with Twitch. This character showing bare hips. That is verboten. Now it all makes sense.
Square Enix. And it really lines up with the sort of things that localizers like Katrina.
Oh my god.
If you recognize this.
Oh my god. Look, chat. Look at the pink hair. See, I feel so sorry for people that just want to just do colors and, color their hair. I truly do feel sorry for the individuals that they want to like color their hair pink or purple or blue or green just because it's fun. Because unfortunately, the ring fucking activist Karens have basically destroyed that. So that now when you see someone with colored hair, unfortunately, you're automatically thinking, okay, they're an activist. When they may not be. Because people like this have destroyed it. because people like this have destroyed, like, the color hair is now a signal for it, and unfortunately, innocent people who are not activists are getting caught in the crossfire on this. And yes, I've migrated to bluer skies. Gee. Are we shocked that she's on blue sky? Are we shocked? Well, Zed, I tried not to, but I am also a human being, and humans are afflicted with pattern recognition. Unfortunately, I can't help biology.
This profile, it's like the Batman signal of the worst takes you're ever going to see. They've gone private on Twitter over the last like year or two. This is a localization producer, not from Square Enix, but someone who's very involved in the industry, who has said a lot and basically gone mask off and shared some quotes where they basically said, you know, we're going to control what the Western market gets. We are the ones who decide what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
For example, like with game localization, you're usually doing it, there's going to be an English dub. None of the Japanese source material is going to be available to the player. So you can get a lot more creative with it. You can, you know, adjust cultural interpretations as you need to.
Wait.
You know, adjust the cultural interpretations as you need to.
Adjust the cultural interpretations as you need to. You can get creative with it. They're literally talking about taking the original works of these writers, of these games, and twist it to fit our activist ideology. They're literally talking about destroying another writer's work in order to fit it into your bullshit activist ideology because DEI. Fuck you, cunt. Fuck you, you fat fucking cunt. It's not your words. You didn't write it. Stop trying to stand on the shoulders of great writers just to push your fucking agendas.
At some cases, you can even contact the developer and be like, hey, I want to change this little visual aspect so it works better with our culture. So you have a little bit more control over what the player is going to experience as a localizer.
Yeah. So she's saying that as a localizer, we're going to change the vision of a game that is not ours, that we did not create to fit our ideology. That is fucking disgusting. That is literally bastardizing someone else's hard work. These are writers and these are artists that have worked for God knows how many hours to put together this game. This was their vision. This is what they wanted to create. And these localizers went, fuck you, it's not good enough for us. We're changing what we want to change, and go fuck yourself if you don't like it. That's fucking disgusting.
However, when you're working with video content, especially animated content, you know, with animation, you can do so many fantastical things. Like you can have crazy stuff popping in and out. You can have like almost like a music video as quality where there's like abstract things happening in the background, or they zoom in on an object that really shouldn't exist. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with animation, but it's on screen and you can't change that. So when it comes to stuff like cultural references, there's nothing much that I can do to change that.
Yeah, in case.
Sucks to be you. Sucks to be you, bitch. You can't change the animation, because otherwise he probably had them on fucking hajids, covered from head to fucking toe, probably speaking Arabic. I fucking hate people like this. I'm so glad that Japan is pushing to protect their artists' work and telling the West, go fuck yourself. You're not changing a fucking thing about our art. I'm so glad they're doing that.
Yeah, in case, again, if you forgot who this person is, they're the one who is inserting, like, Quirk Chungus Reddit humor, like, these sorts of screen caps here, and censoring things, and adding in things that are just cringe and change the meaning of scenes, and, yeah, they've gotten clowned on, but,
Yeah. Is this the... I'm trying to remember if this is the anime that... Or if this is the anime I'm thinking of. I remember seeing an anime about a guy that got turned into a corgi and gets quote unquote adopted by this really hot girl that he likes. And it's very ecchi. Okay, yeah, it is that one. Yeah, it is very ecchi. It is rather lewd. No, she doesn't, and I didn't watch the entire anime, but to my memory, it's not like this girl has sex with the dog. And as I recall, I don't think I can't recall if she's actually attracted to the dog. She's just, this actually plays out. She does smash the dog and, okay. Well, but as I recall, this also, like, it actually delves into psychological issues. Like, this girl has some very deep-seated psychological issues that come out as time goes on. Like, I think she suffered from, I think it's like family abuse. Didn't she suffer from like family abuse at the hands of her mother or father, I think? And it comes out that that's why she's behaving, if I'm thinking of the right one. Because I think there may be actually a couple of anime and manga with this theme of like a guy gets turned into a dog. I think this is the one I'm thinking of. But like the girl in question is like she's psychologically damaged, and that actually comes out, and I believe explains her behavior of why she's acting like insane like this. Is that she has been like I can't remember if she was like abused by her parents, but she is 100% like psychologically damaged, and that is what it comes out that that's why she's behaving the way she is.
And change the meaning of scenes, and yeah, they've gotten clowned on, but it didn't affect their career because of course it didn't. Back in September, they announced that they've been added to a major video game company and has been moving to Tokyo, and they're going to be the localization director. There's no consequences for anything at this point.
Yeah.
Like you can mess up, you can generate so much negative PR for these companies, and yet they'll.
Well, there can be consequences. People just won't buy the product. That'll be the consequences. When people stop buying the shit that localizers destroy, when people stop spending their money, people like this will get fired real quick. That's why these companies are doing these massive layoffs. Because people are not spending money on their product because their product has gone to shit. And so people stop spending money, the company stops making money, and then you see tens of thousands of layoffs happening because they're losing money. You want to hurt these companies for their poor decisions, like keeping this localizer on and destroying original works of anime, manga, and games. Don't spend money on. Refuse to spend money on it. The companies, you hit them in the wallet, that's when the companies will sit up and pay attention. It's the only way companies will sit up and pay attention. Companies do not give a fuck. People can and scream and cry all they want. The companies will not fucking care until they start losing money. If they start losing money, that's when they'll start caring. That's when they'll go, oh, everyone didn't like this. We maybe need to make a change.
Keep hiring you in the same position too as a localization director. Reminds me a lot of Sweet Baby Inc. Right, same stuff. It's like these companies just keep working with these goofballs, even though to anyone who's looking at this objectively, they know this is a bad PR move, but it happened again. So let's get back to Square Enix. I went on a bit of a tangent there, but you understand why I'm doing that. I'm showing the localization scene and the disastrous state of affairs going on over there. But it's not just like censorship. It's just like sloppiness like this, where you can see these translations. Like you can pause and read for yourself. Like this is just goofy. In fact, this is just lazy. And you can see the one-to-one translation versus the localization. I mean, you're talking about two completely.
Wow. So in the original, all right. No need to get so angry. You're letting your pretty face go to waste. You may rest assured that I will not. It is a good, strong name. What the fuck? but why won't he just straight if you let it? Wow. This is fucked.
Heck, I will not watch the dub of Dragon Maid because they changed some of the wording to something else completely different from what it was.
Yeah, kind of like this. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And here's part of the problem, is when you make drastic changes like this, you're losing the impact of the story. The original writers wrote it this way. The original writers wrote it in the way they did because it's the story they wanted to tell. When you make drastic changes to the translation like this, you completely lose the impact of the story that the original writers had. You're not going to get the same, it's not going to evoke the same feelings as the original Japanese properly translated. Like, holy crap. And this is why you get games where people are like, this sucks. The story sucks because you get localizers translating it in a grotesque manner that does not in any way, shape, or form match the words or the tone that the original writers wanted to express.
Different scenes here. But again, back to the layoffs. There was, of course, the localization project manager who was laid off as a result. And you can read again through their description. And if you look at their bio, they've been a part of many different Final Fantasy projects, a lot of big franchises for Square Enix. And they describe their own job as basically saying that they want to create quality game that overseas users will not recognize as a Japanese game. Let me read that again.
Here it is. There it is. This is why they fail. You're taking a Japanese game, which is the whole reason why people want to play the game in the first place. People want to play these games in the first place because they are a Japanese game. That they have the Japanese, the qualities of the Japanese art, the traditions, the verbiage. That's why people buy the Japanese games in the first place. And the localization's purpose is to change it so they don't even recognize it as a Japanese game. These are people that do not even understand their own business. Seriously. They are showcasing right there. They do not even know what business they are in. It's fucking crazy. This is just insane.
Again, the localization division is to create quality games that overseas users will not recognize as a Japanese game. What?
Just eliminating why people buy it in the first place.
That is the reason why Japanese games became so popular. Because they're not like overseas products. Because they are different.
Yes.
This is the heart of the issue. That these companies have been tricked into believing they need to conform their standards to a global audience, to a Western audience, and they're losing their identity.
Yeah, Dr. Bees, you are correct. You are correct. This statement right here is a statement of racism. You are absolutely correct about that. This is racist. They're literally changing it so they don't recognize it as a Japanese game, and thus they are being racist towards the Japanese people because they're saying it's not good enough for Western audiences because it's Japanese, so we gotta change that shit. That is racist. Point blank. They're trying to take it's okay. Let's look at this from another point of view. What if you had a localizer? But let's do okay. What if? Do you remember that game that came out not too long ago? I forget the name of it. It's that game that takes place in the bayou. It's like after something after midnight or something like that. It was like the style was kind of cel shaded. It took place in the South. I think it might have been Mississippi, but it was like it was like the bayou, and there was a lot of like South of Midnight. Thank you, Lou. Yeah, South of Midnight, where your protagonist is, you were playing a girl from, you're playing a black girl from the South in the bayou, and she was going on she was going through the bayou, and she was dealing with like bayou spirits, things like that. Yeah, where you got your powers, you got your energy from picking cotton. Correct. That game. Now, take that game, which is, can we all agree, that is a game about Southern black culture. Correct? That was a game that was definitively about Southern black culture. Okay? Now, what if that game got ported over to Japan? What if it got ported over to Japan and Japanese localizers decided to take that game, lighten everybody's skin tone, change all of the dialect, change all the core factors of it that were associated with like Southern African American culture, which was a staple of the game. Take all the music, change all the music from that Southern bayou style, hillbilly, for lack of a better word that I can think of, like to change all of that music, that environmental music that was so core to the bayou and African American culture within the bayou. Change the music so it was all Japanese style music. Lighten the skin tone so they perhaps maybe looked more Japanese, and change the story so it fit more, that would align more with, say, Japanese culture versus Southern African American culture. Can you imagine the screams of racism that would happen if something like that had occurred? You would have every fucking activist on their Twitter bullhorn screaming at Japan, calling them every racist name in the book, and demanding that Japan change it back, demanding the studio rip the game out of Japan's hands, everything under the sun. They would be losing their fucking minds over this. But they do it to a Japanese game, and they want to change the game so people don't even recognize that it's Japanese. Fucking crickets. It's the same goddamn thing. It's racist. This right here is racism against Japanese people. So yeah, the next time you have people reading and screaming about racism, just remember they are racist themselves. A strong majority of people in this day and age that love to cry racism about something, they are themselves racist. They are projecting to try and cover up their own racism. Just remember that.
In the process, they are trying to appeal to everyone, and in the process, they're appealing to no one. And that's why there is so much negativity surrounding localization and Western adaptations of various Japanese products. And it's just absolutely crazy. And they say, like, point blank, taking into account overseas cultures and trends, and in some cases, we even consult with the development team to change the character appearances and game content.
Boom. Again, racist. This is racism disguised as activism. Again, look at my South of Midnight example. Look at what would happen if it was reversed. If South of Midnight went to Japan, if South of Midnight got sent to Japan and they changed everything about it to fit the Japanese culture more, including whitening up the characters and changing the music from traditional bayou music to more traditional Japanese music, these people would lose their fucking minds. So this is racism. This is flat out fucking racism.
And nobody wants this. The less than 1% of Twitter users who are screechers and complain about anything that looks halfway anime styled, they're not going to buy your games anyways. So stop trying
Correct.
to appeal to them.
Correct.
It's a losing battle. It's a waste of your time, and it's going to hurt your company. And like I said, I do hope that some of these people start to wake up. That these companies, they're not just
Good
doing
luck.
this because they're finding out or they're reaping what they have sown. Maybe they're saying, yeah, we need to make major changes. And it starts.
Wait. Look at the Japanese localization of Transformers Earthspark. They lost their minds when Japan wrote the non-binary carbots. I vaguely remember seeing that clip where there was like one of the Transformers was saying like, I don't feel male or female. Well, there's this thing called non-binary. It's like, what the fuck? Wasn't that? I think that was like was that Netflix that did that? Was that am I remembering this correctly? It was Netflix that did that. They took this one Transformer. Okay, it was Netflix. Yeah. Yeah, Netflix is in some shit right now. Netflix is basically in some serious shit in regards to indoctrinating children. There's so much shit on Netflix right now that is marketed for children that is all about indoctrination. It's really fucking bad. This is not simply just saying, hey, these people exist. It's saying you need to be one of us. That is the key distinction there. There's a difference between like having something exist in a program saying, hey, these people exist, but they're still human beings. They should be treated like human beings. And that's it. Netflix is now instead saying, you have to be one of these. You have to be one of these they, thems. Don't you want to be one of these they, thems? And they're literally trying to indoctrinate children. It's fucking disgusting. It's absolutely insane, and it's fucking disgusting. And it's just one of the reasons why I do not subscribe to streaming services like Netflix, because of shit like this. Well, Jack, I mean, it's treading a fine line. I think, you know what? I think people need to start showing their displeasure with Netflix with their wallets. Start canceling your Netflix subscriptions. You don't like the way a streaming service is trying to indoctrinate your children into DEI and try and force DEI down your children's throats? Cancel your Netflix subscription. You don't need it. Despite popular opinion, you do not need Netflix. I have not had a streaming service. I have not paid for a streaming service for years. Many years. I have not paid for a streaming service. I have not had television service for years. Yeah, and Cuties is still on Netflix. They're all in on child abuse. They're all in on showcasing the sexualization of underage girls. So Netflix is pro-sexualization of underage girls, pro-indoctrination of DEI to basically try and transgenderify children, without proper care, because yes, some kids, there are kids that they may be going through something and they may need to get the appropriate help, but Netflix is trying to say, oh no, you don't need help, you really are trans. Don't actually seek professional help. Just embrace it. Get rid of Netflix. Cancel your subscription. You don't need it. There is nothing on Netflix. Let me put it this way. There is nothing currently showing on Netflix that you can't watch without a subscription to Netflix. There are 1,000 different ways to watch everything in Netflix's catalog without subscribing to Netflix. Show your displeasure with your wallet. When enough people cancel their Netflix, they'll sit up and pay attention. Because literally, every single streaming service, every single one, you can watch every single thing in every single streaming service's catalog without needing to buy a subscription. Every single one. Vote with your wallets. Show your displeasure with your wallets. You do that, the companies will suddenly go, oh shit, we actually might want to do something about this.
With the localizations. I know, I'm huffing that copium, I'm huffing the hopium, who knows, but that
Superlane,
could
you're
be something.
absolutely...
But
Sorry, Red. Sorry, Red. I gotta address this. Superlane, you are 100% correct. You are 100% correct, and this is what I've talked about. It's shit like this, like what we've seen with Netflix, where they are shoving it down people's throats, where activists shove it down people's throats, that causes transphobia. You are absolutely correct. It's what I've been saying for fucking a year now. This is how you cause division. This is how you get the non-activized people to turn against the LGBT community, is you shove shit like this down your throats and say you must love it or you should be ended. If you don't love it, we're putting a target on you. Sometimes literally. In this day and age. You're absolutely right.
I'm huffing the hopium, who knows, but that could be something. But that wasn't the only layoff. We've seen multiple major positions, but also the senior HR generalist who worked at Square Enix for about 4 years was also laid off, who was responsible for implementing DEI initiatives to support inclusive programming, cultural initiatives, and belonging strategies. Yup, up. Word salad. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the nonsense that for many years was strictly in the Western market, and it is flourishing in Japan at this moment. Make no mistake. This stuff is long since been initiated over there, and it's a real problem. And again, hopefully these companies wake up and realize people hate this stuff. The real customers, the actual target audience does not want to see this stuff, and including it and enforcing it so hard is not in their best interest. And here's another person resigning in a role like that. So at this point, it's like,
good. Put the fries in the fucking bag.
Where do we go from here? I guess we have to sit back and wait for the results because, you know, actions will speak better than words. But yeah, these rounds of layoffs, it's pretty interesting to see such a big focus being on the localizers and the people promoting DEI and related initiatives in the company. Hopefully something good comes out of this. To see Square Enix continue to roll down this hill for the last 5 years, it's sad to see, but hopefully they turn things around and some good changes are implemented as a result of these layoffs. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Right. Yeah, I think we're starting to see change. Like I said, we saw the not we, but Japan is starting to protect their artists. They are starting to protect their artists with the new mandate that changes like this will be verboten when ported to the West. So I think we are starting to see some change. I do think Square Enix, I do think that they're going to backtrack on that catering to the global audience. Realistically speaking, I do think that they're going to backtrack on it. I think right now they may be testing the waters where they're talking about we're going to be catering to a global audience. The first game that they try and do this catering to a global audience, the first time they do that, I think they're going to get a severe amount of backlash and they're going to go, okay, this was a mistake. We need to rethink. We need to we need to maybe rethink and dial it back to making Japanese games in a Japanese style with a Japanese story. But we'll see. I could be dead wrong. They could just put their head down and just charge ahead into this, into the global bridge bullshit and tank their sales. In which case, a beloved developer which has made some of the greatest video games in video gaming history may go down the toilet. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see.